Today on DNVR Buffs Live, we may be a little tired from all that CSU and Nebraska hate, but we haven't forgotten what you did, Baylor. We never will. Also, the risk that Coach Prime took this offseason that could change the entire trajectory for the Colorado Buffaloes. Let's jump in. Let's go.
Welcome into the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota Store. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR, is DNVR Buffs Prime Time on this wonderful Thursday, and he's back.
I think Scott needs his own ad-lib for the intro.
Yeah.
Low key. I'm going to have to start brainstorming on that one.
Get to thinking, man.
What's good, fellas? Glad to be back. How we doing?
I'm feeling great.
It's been a great day. It has been a great day already, and it's only getting better from here.
Facts.
Yes, it is. We will get into why Colorado fans hate Baylor, some takes on the whiteout, big recruiting update. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
We are fully back.
We are all the way back recruiting season.
And as we are going live, we get a sixth visitor for this weekend. So I tweeted out 5. It's actually 6. But we start today with the risk that Coach Prime took that is really starting to pay off for this season. I feel like, Scott, you should introduce this one.
Yeah, I can do that.
I can
do that. Hey, if y'all haven't already, man, go check out my latest story that went out live on the Coloradoan this morning, talking about Robert Livingston, right, and the impact that he's made on this Colorado defense, on this team as a whole. It all started, right, with the risks. It's pretty much what I wrote about that Coach Prime took. You know, this defense was abysmal in a lot of different areas last year. You know, opponents averaged 35 points per game against Colorado last year. Colorado gave up 35 points in 4 of their first 5 games last year.
Sheesh.
And that's tough. Obviously, when Sean Kelly leaves for Auburn, Coach Prime had a big decision to make, and he took a massive risk trusting his defense, you know, to a first-time play caller. And obviously, Robert Livingston isn't new to this. He's true to this. He's been doing this in the NFL for the last 8 to 9 years as the Cincinnati Bengals secondary coach. But again, to go to an entirely new place, you know, on the other side of the country without any of your coaches, and this is something that Coach Prime talked about, and I'm glad he touched on it when I asked him about it during Tuesday's presser, is just how difficult that is as a coach, you know, to, again, change places, be in an entirely new environment without any of the guys, coaches that you've probably, you know, built your resume on. That's not an easy task. But Coach Livingston, that's exactly what he's done. He's come in, he's built a rapport with his players. I mean, those guys love him. You know, they will run through a wall for him, as the saying goes. And to hear Carter Stoudemire yesterday talk about that Robert Livingston ran 20 gassers with the players after they were, you know, flagged for,
and that it was his idea to
that
do.
It was his idea. The money on the floor, the whole celebration was Robert Livingston's idea. That's awesome, right? He's like, not only I can't just leave y'all out there. It was my idea.
Yeah.
I'm gonna run these things with you. Obviously, it meant a lot to Carter. I'm sure it meant a lot to those other guys. Cam Stillman Craig, quote, retweeted my post yesterday talking about that and said it hits different. You know, when your coach is willing to go through that fire with you. And, you know, that's just kind of the off-the-field stuff. But on the field, this defense is legit, man.
It is.
They're legit. You know, again, we talked about it. I've tweeted about it. Last 6 quarters, only 9 points given up. Just came across this yesterday. I wrote about it as well. The Colorado defense is allowing opponents to convert just 13 of 40 third downs.
Ooh.
Opponents are 32% on third down against the Colorado defense this year, which is the same exact percentage as Nebraska's defense, which is
Wow.
the top 10 scoring defense again this year. We all know that Nebraska's defense is legit. So that's just his defense is real. And Robert Livingston, the risk that he took coming to Colorado alone, the risk that Coach Prime took, trusting him, trusting a first-time play caller, it's paying off. And this defense is scary, man. Look out.
And I wonder how many of those third down conversions came in the first half of North Dakota State.
Yeah,
Because they
for sure.
were on a roll early
No
in
doubt.
converting third downs, and then they figured it out in the second half. And I'm sure Nebraska converted a few in the first half as well. But, I mean, second half defense as well. 12 points allowed in 6 quarters of second half defense.
That's huge.
And I'll take it back even further to this coaching search for the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Everyone was on pins and needles, man, waiting for Coach Prime to make a move. And, you know, there was rumors of this person and that person and who's it going to be. And, you know, Coach Prime just kept saying every time he was asked about it, whether it was like, you know, on Well Off, or I remember Neely asked him about it in a pregame show video. And he just kept saying, like, hey, I'm taking my time. I want to make sure I get this right. There's no rush. We don't have any workouts. We don't have any practices right now.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I get the right guy. And, you know, we're 3 games in, so it's still a small sample size, but it sure as hell feels like they got the right guy. And I think more than anything else, if there's something that should give you confidence of why they did this and the fact that they got it right, it is these adjustments they've made in the second half.
Exactly.
The fact that they just keep getting better after halftime is really special and not something that you see everywhere. You know, we hear a lot about halftime adjustments, and I've even heard Peyton Manning say that halftime adjustments as a whole are way overrated and that it's really hard to, you know, create a new game plan. But if you as a coach just know that you can tweak 1 or 2 little things and that'll make all the difference, you have a huge advantage over your opponent. So that to me has been really impressive, and it gives me confidence that no matter what happens early in the game, Robert Livingston's going to figure this thing out. Kind of the same way we feel about Shedeur. It's like it might take him a second to figure out the opposing defense, but I know that eventually he's going to get it.
Yep.
And that's the thing, too, right? You mentioned Shedeur. A quarterback like him with the weapons that he has, with the legitimate defense on the other side,
It's a recipe for winning.
You're cooking with gas right there at that point. So that's the biggest thing. That I was bullish on this defense coming into this season for obviously all the additions that they got out of the transfer portal, and I was optimistic about Livingston, but they've exceeded expectations. Again, it's only 3 weeks. They got some really explosive offenses coming, to Folsom, and they'll be seeing some explosive offense over the next month or so, and we're going to really find out what this defense is really about. But again, through 3 weeks, you have to feel good about where this defense is and, where Livingston is, leading it.
So talking about third down conversions, I love this stat, by the way. I went and looked it up because you mentioned like maybe a lot of those came against North Dakota State. Against Nebraska and Colorado State, they are a combined 7 for 27 on third down.
Sheesh.
That's an insane conversion rate for a defense. Like, that is really, really good.
Yeah.
And it leads to extra possessions. 3 and outs are just, we suffered for them against Nebraska. We know exactly what 3 and outs do to an offense. It kind of just takes.
And to a defense.
Yeah, and it just takes the juice out of a team, right? Like, it's demoralizing. It's demoralizing for the defense. They're like, oh, we got to get back out there. So it's been big for them to have that kind of as a calling card at this point. The turnovers are something. Finally, last week we got them. I think we got 4 of them last week. And the sacks, I think, once we get the sacks coming and the turnovers going all together, this defense is really going to be cooking if they hold down on that third down conversion rate.
Another thing that impressed me about Livingston, too, is obviously he has a background coaching the secondary, right?
Yep.
This secondary, obviously they're talented, but they've been pretty much lights out. We knew what we were getting out of Travis Hunter. We were all up here optimistic about what Preston Hodge and DJ McKinney would bring. But, again, to have Shedeur Sanders go down and Carter Stoudemire be able to step in and pretty much not miss a beat, that really can't be understated either. And, obviously, Cameron Silman-Craig is who he is, a defensive leader. So this secondary, that's why, that's Livingston's calling card. And so far, early on here in Boulder, he's proven that that's, part of his identity for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think they gave up. Yeah, so they gave up. What was the score at the end of the first quarter at Nebraska? Was it just 14-0?
Yes.
I believe so,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So since then, they've given up 3 total touchdowns since Shiloh went out.
Yeah.
Which, again, just to your point, they had Carter Stoudemire ready, man.
Yeah.
And that's a guy who changed positions this offseason.
Yep.
So it's not just 1 year older. It's a whole new position to learn, and he's done an incredible job. And, I think Coach Prime said it. He said he's the future. And you have to feel really good about the future at that position, knowing that this year you're going to lose a leader in Shedeur Sanders.
Right. And that was Coach Livingston's calling card in the Bengals was, I think Marcus Williams was his name. They brought him in as a late round pick, and he blossomed into this really good safety alongside Jesse Bates. Coach Livingston, with that scouting background, he totally understands how to find guys who can fit that safety prototype, right? Or fit into that archetype, really.
Definitely.
He understands the traits that it takes to play that position, what you need to be well-rounded at that position, too. And it's already coming into fruition with Carter. I mean, that's the big, I think, position change. We heard a lot of guys kind of playing both sides, but Carter stepping up is massive.
Yep.
100%.
We talked about the Baylor game a lot yesterday, Scott. Just any takeaways, going into this one, kind of game plan stuff. What are you looking for?
Yeah, I mean, the forecast, the weather is going to be interesting to see how much precipitation, if at all, we get on Saturday evening at Folsom Field, because that will obviously dictate at least a little bit probably how often both teams throw the football. But speaking of throwing the football, through 3 games, opponents have only thrown the ball 46 times against Baylor.
Crazy.
Across 3 games. As we know, Shedeur threw the ball 49 times on Saturday night alone. So this Baylor secondary, so to speak, hasn't really been tested, period, let alone by somebody as accurate, as dynamic as Shedeur Sanders and his playmakers on the perimeter. So that's something that I'm going to be interested to see. They do have a corner who I really like, Caden Jenkins. I actually voted him preseason all conference. So they definitely have some talent on the back end. They have some talent up front too. They
Slight
got
flex that you have an all conference vote.
They also have a really talented guy up front. I believe his name is Jackie Mitchell, number 0, a big dude from Louisiana on their defensive front. It's gonna pose a challenge for the interior of this offensive line, this Colorado offensive line that looked a lot better last week. Granted, it was against Colorado State, but that's something I'm gonna be tuned into as well. And I have to see the balance continue, the offensive balance that we saw last week, particularly early on. I need to see Isaiah Gustav, Michael Welch continue to get opportunities out of pistol, in particularly because we've seen success with that, allowing those running backs to run downhill and get, more of a clear picture of the line of scrimmage and how the defensive front is lined up when you're in pistol as opposed to out of gun next to your quarterback. So that's something that needs to be tapped into again this week. And then defensively, obviously Baylor, they don't know who's going to start at quarterback, right? Whether it's DeQuan Finn, the Toledo transfer, more of a dual threat quarterback, or Sawyer Robertson, who started for Finn last week against Air Force, threw for 248 yards, ran for a touchdown in that win. So we don't know who is actually going to get the start, who's going to get the bulk of reps at quarterback for Baylor. But regardless, none of those guys, let me say this, force one of those guys to beat man coverage, to beat this secondary and stack the box. I mean, this run defense has looked pretty good over the last 6 quarters, call it. We'll just call it 1 game. But again, force Baylor's quarterbacks, whoever it is under center, to beat you with their arm, force their playmakers on the perimeter to beat man coverage, to beat Travis, DJ, and Preston out on the perimeter. And I like their chances if those keys, so to speak, get executed.
By the way, the Apple weather still on Coach Prime's side. I've got 6 p.m., 10% chance of rain, 7 p.m., 15% chance of rain, 8 p.m., 15, 9 p.m., 20, and then at 10 p.m. or at 11 p.m. it goes up to 25.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're not playing that late this week.
No, let's absolutely hope that that's not true.
Yeah,
but
on mine this Saturday, the rain isn't there anymore. Like yesterday and the day before it was. Now it's not there anymore. So
this is going to be a hilarious
Weathergate.
The post game presser, if there's no rain, is going to be a sight to behold.
100%.
For sure. All right, let's get to recruiting. But first, shout out to our friends over at Game Time, the homies, man. They make it easy to buy tickets. They take all the guesswork out of buying tickets with their Game Time picks. right there on the screen. You can see exactly what's available. You can find the best deals. You can get a view from your seat. Everything that you need to know to be set for your next sporting event. But it's not just sporting events. Whatever's going on in your city, concerts, and much more. Check out our friends over at Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use the promo code BUFFS when you sign up for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code BUFFS, BUFFS, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
Game time.
Let's go.
Also, use that Game Time Picks feature that you can see right there on the graphic, and it'll just, filter out all of the overpriced BS. Get you the best deals. Just make it easy for you to find where the best deals are. Also, speaking of the best, Breck Brew, best in Colorado when it comes to creating craft beers. We love them, and we are going to have them heavily featured at tomorrow's tailgate, or Saturday's tailgate.
Yeah.
I've been one day ahead of myself all week.
I know.
I keep thinking it's Friday. That's tough. Anyways, come through the tailgate this Saturday. Tickets are going fast, so make sure you get over to the DNVR events page on the website, thednvr.com, and get your tickets. If you are a diehard, make sure you get your diehard discount and come enjoy some Breck Brews. Come enjoy hanging out with us, other Buffs fans. We'll have good music, saucy Southern barbecue.
The homies.
So we've got it popping this week for the tailgate, and something you guys don't even know about yet, but it's going to be really sick.
It's amazing.
So there you go. Hit up our friends over at Breck Brew. Use the beer locator at breckbrew.com to find a Breck Brew near you.
How y'all gonna tease the people like that?
They're going to see very
crazy.
soon.
Very soon.
Probably tomorrow morning, you guys will get to see something
Sheesh.
incredibly, incredibly dope.
It's a monument.
I'm excited.
All right, let's get to recruiting, man. I'm hyped about this. The biggest and most notable prospect or recruit who's visiting literally just got announced before. So you don't even know.
I don't even know.
We'll start with him. 2025 four-star offensive tackle Carday Smith will be in Boulder this weekend for the Baylor game. He's from Mobile, Alabama, goes to Williamson High School, listed at 6'5", 293. He is currently committed to USC.
Uh-oh.
Ranked the 251st overall player, 26th tackle on the 247 Sports Composite. But we got another four-star. Byron Baldwin is also visiting. He's a four-star safety from Baltimore, Maryland. St. Francis Academy, 6'1.5", 190 pounds. Currently committed to Indiana. 225th overall recruit, 19th safety in the country. Mikhail Benner is also visiting. He's a Colorado kid, committed to Air Force. He's a three-star cornerback out of Broomfield, 6 foot 175. And then three-star safety Antonio Branch Jr. out of Miami, Florida, plays at Northwestern High School. A top 450 player, 6'2", 172, committed to Penn State right now. That's just the 2025 guys. We have 2026 cornerback Hayward Howard Jr. also visiting, and 2027 tight end Landon Wolney also visiting.
I feel like if you have the last name Branch, you're just guaranteed to be a good football player.
Yeah.
My head definitely popped up when I heard Branch Jr. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Deion Branch,
Yeah.
Brian Branch.
Yep.
I feel like
a few
there's
of them.
more even.
But those are the four big ones. As I mentioned, there's the 26 cornerback and the 27 tight end. But Carday Smith, we haven't talked Juju a lot, but right here, going right after another USC commit. How do you feel?
I mean, I feel like it's groundwork. Laying the groundwork for if and when Juju makes that flip, then you have, these guys that already have a relationship now have a relationship with you, and they got to ask themselves and think to themselves, do I want to follow Juju to Colorado? Because I kind of like the way that things were shaping up for us in Southern California, and it looks like there's some pretty cool stuff going on over there. Now you'll actually have a frame of reference, not just, sight unseen.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like this is a big weekend recruiting-wise. This is homecoming, obviously, right? They're going to bring out all the bells and whistles.
I can't believe Ryan Green is pulling Cliff Branch before I did.
Shout out RG.
Anyway, sorry for just...
You good. No, I was just saying this is a big recruiting weekend. A lot of potential. Obviously, it being homecoming. Again, I think this is a winnable game. This is a game for where your team has the opportunity to flex its muscles a little bit against a Big 12 opponent in the Big 12 opener. So, again, I feel like The same way Nebraska, right, had a huge recruiting weekend a couple weeks ago in front of their home crowd for a big win over Colorado, and obviously that led to some momentum on their end on the recruiting side of things. I can kind of see something similar happening this weekend, assuming the Buffs, take care of business on the field.
So, yeah, there's the connection with Carday Smith. Byron Baldwin, he's a Baltimore kid, St. Francis Academy. People are saying in the chat that's where Nakai Hill Green went to school.
Interesting.
Mikhail Benner is a Colorado kid. And then Antonio Branch Jr. From Miami, Florida. We already know the Florida connections with this team. Miami connections with this team. Shoot. Yep. But those top 4 guys, the top 4 visitors, all currently committed to another school.
Very interesting.
That's a very big pattern this year.
Yes.
A lot of flip targets.
Yes.
And I don't necessarily know the reason behind that.
Just think they're trying to get the best players they can, and they're not caring if you're committed. They're going to recruit you until you tell them to stop recruiting you, basically.
That's what I was going to say. Like, I feel like that's what the best programs do, right?
Yes.
I mean, they don't stop recruiting you if they want you until that pen goes to paper on signing day, And typically if you're – because what are the schools that the kids are committed to?
So,
there's a USC. There's a Penn State.
Carday Smith is USC. Byron Baldwin is Indiana. Mikhail Benner is Air Force. And Antonio Branch Jr. is Penn State.
Yeah, I had a friend in college who used to use this in a different context, but he would say just because there's a goalie doesn't mean you can't score.
Yep. Yep. But, I mean, we already talked about USC. Indiana, they're kind of in the juju thing, too. So Byron Baldwin,
very interesting.
That could be a bigger play as well. Also, he's the Baltimore kid, too. And, we have guys from Maryland, Jordan Seaton from Maryland, kind of are already on the team. So it's just interesting, like connecting the dots between the recruits and where we are at right now, because they do tell a story when you look at them. All right. We have a whiteout. Go ahead.
No, this actually segues perfectly into the whiteout. So I think it's time for Colorado to reevaluate their game day experience.
Okay.
Now, you got to understand, you are talking to probably the person who loves Folsom Field maybe more than any other person on earth. Mm-hmm. At least if there's an upper tier, I'm in it. So I get it. I also love Ralphie as much as any person on earth. I feel like we've used Ralphie as a crutch for our game day experience too long.
Okay.
And
that's a good point.
Now that if we're calling a spade, Ralphie isn't as dope as she used to be.
Yeah.
We got to talk about upping our game a little bit. And, now it's been back-to-back weeks where we've been on the road and we've seen, other teams do some cool stuff. I couldn't believe that Colorado State could afford fireworks, but they even had fireworks. And they had the light show at the end of the third quarter.
Yeah.
And, little things like that from a recruiting standpoint matter. Let's turn the lights down at the end of the third quarter. And
that ribbon board, when they actually do stuff with it, it lights up the whole stadium.
Yeah, so you could use that to, flash and, do whatever. But, some fireworks, I mean, as shameless as it would be to steal this from them, I would like to see a drone show.
Hell yeah.
That was sick.
That was dope.
We have to just be honest and say that was sick.
Yeah.
And I'm in on doing something like that. I don't know how much that costs. It can't be too crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we just need to think about that, especially from a recruiting standpoint. Let's have that electric moment that when these guys leave their official visits, that sticks out to them. Because, again, much as I don't want to give any credit to that school, I guarantee you those recruits who are there at Nebraska, that's their lasting memory.
Oh, for sure.
They remember the game, they remember the crowd, but that fourth quarter segue, that's what sticks out to them. And they're going to be like, man, that's the atmosphere there. We have a great atmosphere where we have 10,000 students losing their minds during these games. Let's give them a moment to say, this is your moment. Go off.
So last year, I think they had a moment during the Colorado State game, because that's when Lil Wayne came out with the team. Do you think we see anything like that this weekend?
I don't know. I don't know what they have up their sleeves. I would love it. And you're right. That was a moment. That was loud, dude.
Yeah.
It was so loud you could barely hear Lil Wayne.
Yep.
So, yeah, I just want us to, I really think we've kind of used Ralphie as a crutch, as this is our game day thing. It's great, and that's what we have.
Right.
I think we got to maybe get a little more creative. Let's get some fireworks. Just do some more.
You're not the only one too. I was watching Coach Warren Sapp on with Neely on what is it?
Wednesdays with Warren.
Yeah. Shout out Uncle Neely and Coach Sapp talking about that pretty much unprovoked. He was like, I ain't trying to compliment Colorado State by any means, but that was cool. And that was Coach Sapp, who has seen a lot of cool game day activities and whatnot. So he was obviously impressed by that. And I thought it was the last 2 weeks have been kind of a treat from a game day perspective. Nebraska obviously in week 2 and then CSU last week. But I agree with a lot of what you said, RK. I feel like it can be that game. The game day operation could definitely be upped for sure. Yeah,
absolutely. And, the CSU one probably would have been a lot cooler if their fans hadn't already had their souls ripped out of their body. But we're happy that happened. As for the whiteout,
yes,
I hate whiteouts.
Why is that? I saw your tweet earlier, and it kind of made me chuckle. But
you ever see me wear white?
I can't say that I have. Now that I think about it,
I wear black every day, so that's why I hate it. But the other thing is, for this exact thing that we're facing right now, when you have weather, who has a white raincoat?
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Who has a white snow? If it were to get really cold and snow, who has white snow clothes? Most people don't. Most is outerwear is dark colors.
Yeah.
So for that reason, and then if you're Penn State and you wear white at home, it looks cool for the fans to all wear white.
Yeah. Right.
But CU, I don't think is going to wear white. They confused a lot of people by putting out that graphic with Shedeur and the whites that they wore last week, thinking that they're going to wear those uniforms. I highly, highly doubt that they wear those uniforms this weekend. Back to back, I don't think Coach Prime's ever worn the same uniform back to back.
Home versus away too. I don't see that happening. Yeah,
I don't. So to me, I don't know. I think it's a little weird because there's a pretty good chance Baylor will be wearing white.
Right.
That's what I feel like white is more of a Baylor color. I feel like than a CU color.
Yeah.
But,
so at some point they decided they want to do something out for every game. So there's only so many colors. So one of them's got to be a white out. But I don't love it. That being said, you've never seen me wear white, and you will on Saturday because I'm a team player. So if I can do it, you can too. I went into the team store today up on campus. They've got plenty of white gear, a couple different hoodies, a windbreaker that I think I was going to get just in case it does rain, even though I'm on Coach Prime's team. I was thinking when I was looking at it, I'm like, I can put this in my golf bag, It'll be nice to have out in the summer. It'll be a nice white layer if it's sunny and windy or whatever. So I can do it. You can do it too.
Yep. I love to see all white uniforms.
But they're not going to wear them.
I know. I'm just saying,
I do too. That's
if there was a way to make it work with a whiteout at home, because obviously you can't really do it on the road.
Exactly.
I don't know.
It just felt like it wasn't thought out super well. Like I said, we're not expecting them to wear white on the field. And again, I just feel like when you're thinking of game day themes, that's probably the first idea. Oh, let's do a whiteout. Let's do a blackout. Let's do stripes. I feel like there could have been maybe a little bit more thought and creativity put into these.
I think we mentioned this last year when they did the whiteout was against USC, and that's when they wore the all grays. I don't know. I like those a lot too. Those are some of my favorites.
I like the grays as well.
Someone else said white, black, white.
That's could be. That's what they wore. They actually didn't wear it last year.
Did they wear that last year?
They went black, black, white against Nebraska.
Yes.
But I don't think they went white, black, white.
But they have those unis where it's the logo is in white. You know what I mean?
Oh, you mean the yeah. I don't. Yeah, we'll see. I think that we're gonna get something totally new this week.
Homecoming, why not?
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, if it's done right, it'll look cool. I just worry that people are going to bring their rain gear and all that stuff, and then it's not going to look cool.
Yeah.
And then my last take on this is I think every game at CU should just be a blackout. Everyone's favorite CU shirt is black.
Yeah.
I feel like it just goes with the feng shui of Folsom Field.
Yeah.
Too. Just blackout. It's dark.
Just the same way that everyone wears white to every Penn State game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think.
Own it.
Yeah.
Yeah. you want to take us into this next ad break?
Sure. Shout out to UC Health. We have been dethroned here in Colorado as the healthiest state
Yes,
in
unfortunately.
the United States. And Coach Prime is not down for that. So he's joined up with UC Health for the Ready, Set, Co challenge. And the goal of the challenge is getting Colorado back to number one. So everyone, we can take different steps, whether that's making sure we get our 8 hours of sleep, making sure we get our exercise in, for an hour a day, whatever it may be. We're all trying to do what we can to be healthier. So if you want to join the Ready, Set, Co challenge and follow Coach Prime, UC Health's Chief Motivation Officer, go to uchealth.org/ready-set-co.
And then shout out to our friends at Mint Mobile. When it comes to cell phone plans, I've done it. I do it all the time. I look at my bill and I go, wow, do I really have to pay this much for a cell phone? There's an option, though. Our friends at Mint Mobile, you can get a new customer offer on your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month. All you got to do is go to mintmobile.com/buffs. That's mintmobile.com/buffs to cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com. But Mint Mobile is awesome. You don't have to deal with all the big cell phone companies trying to, jack up your bill for whatever fee or whatever plan that you're on that all of a sudden 6 months later it's more. Mint Mobile is going to take care of you. Again, mintmobile.com/buffs for $15 a month. It's a $45 upfront payment required. That's equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speeds slower above 40 gigabytes on the unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. Chat's big fans of Mint Mobile. I know we got a bunch of Mint Mobile people here watching us, so go check them out.
Looks like another 2025 visitor for this weekend.
Who we got now?
I don't want to butcher my
Come
man.
on, let's go.
I don't want to butcher my man's last name, but a Fabian Abagulum,
Ooh, let me see.
2025 middle linebacker, edge, will be at Folsom Field this weekend. He actually was in Lincoln, Nebraska a couple weeks ago for the Nebraska-Colorado game, obviously as a Cornhusker visitor. But not sure where exactly he's from. He doesn't have that in his bio, MVHS, but he's a middle linebacker, edge is what is listed at 6'2", 225. Looks like he has a connection with Matt McChesney for some reason because he
Tagged him,
he tagged him, in his
so it looks like invites are going out to local kids. John Stevens, who's a 2026 D-line/O-line. I think he's been to Colorado a few times before. He works with McChesney also. He's been invited, as well as Fabian.
Fabian what, Jake?
Yeah, what is
Fabian Abagulum.
Sounded pretty solid.
Thank you.
I told Jake, as long as you say it with confidence, it sounds right. You end it with a question mark. Everyone's questioning.
So this weekend, Colorado's officially back in the Big 12. It's homecoming.
Someone asked what MVHS is. I believe that is Mountain Vista High School.
Here?
Yep.
So there you go. Baylor's back in Colorado. The Buffs are back in the Big 12. And there is, it's not a rivalry game, but there's some bad blood between both of these teams that go back to the old Big 12 and even further than that. So
No way.
Enlighten us.
Yeah, so first of all,
I get another history lesson.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's get it.
Aside from the fact that Baylor, at times, you could probably make the argument the worst run program in the history of college sports.
Yeah.
We'll set that aside for now, but it is something to keep in mind about why we hate Baylor. I'm just going to read you a long excerpt from this so you guys get the full context. This was written June 8th, 2010 by Ryan Fowler of Bleacher Report.
Okay.
It's titled Pac-12 Expansion, Baylor Emails Released. And here you go. Baylor and Colorado have seldom found reasons to play dirty, but now that each is at the epicenter of rumored conference realignment in college football, the gloves have been taken off. No, make that ripped off and tossed to the farthest corner of the ring. The thing is, though, it seems to be a fight in which only one party is interested. That would be Baylor, a tiny-sized private institution that's willing to taint its hands with a little political mudslinging on behalf of an angry mob of Texas lobbyists. The goal? ensure that the Bears do what is needed to avoid being left out in the cold should the Pac-10 confirm the rumors and expand with 6 teams from the Big 12. Now remember, there was a time when the thought was that essentially the Pac-12 was going to take the entire Big 12 South, except for Baylor, and take Colorado. So Texas, Oklahoma, Colorado, whoever else was in the Big 12
This
South.
is in like
Oklahoma State.
2009 when this is going on,
Yeah,
right?
2010.
Yeah.
It goes on. And they would like to do so, join the Pac-12, at the expense of Colorado, a school some within the Lone Star State's crowded and boisterous political arena assert is not exactly worthy of such green pastures. The Dallas Morning News reported Monday that it has obtained a series of emails recently exchanged between Baylor regent and lobbyist Buddy Jones, which, as noted here in the article, perfect name for a Texas politicker,
Buddy,
and school alumni and supporters within the state's legislature. The rallying cry, we must uphold the unification of the 4 Texas schools, even if that means skinning the life out of the buffalo in the room.
Wow.
Which, by the way, cannot stand in our way of receiving an invigorating Pac-12 payday. Pac-10 payday, sorry. Here's the first of Jones' emails in which he describes Baylor's academics and Colorado's and athletic facilities as being superior to those of Colorado. I'm going to skip part of this just to when he goes down here and says... Baylor is superior to Colorado academically? Wrong. Baylor has athletic facilities superior to Colorado? Wrong. Colorado doesn't participate in the number of sports that Baylor does. Baylor's overall record in collegiate sports dwarfs that of Colorado. Don't know if that's still true. Our football, basketball, baseball, softball, track, tennis, and golf programs are vastly superior to Colorado. The Baptist church base extends across the country and certainly trumps the University of Colorado's local base limited to a small town in Colorado. I'm asking you to commit to me to keeping all 6 schools from the Big 12 South together and keep the whole Big 12 intact. Baylor must be included in the package. Make it clear when it comes to our 4 Texas schools. It is all for one and one for all. Please do not break up the history and working relationship we have nurtured over decades.
Wow.
the passion just jumping off the page there.
Yeah, but the desperation is really what's jumping off the page. I mean, they're basically sitting there being like, I know we are the weakest of all the Texas schools, but please, please bring us with you. In the end, obviously Colorado comes back to the Big 12 anyway, but they
even got religious on it.
Yeah.
They brought in the Baptist background.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I honestly don't think that just like a Baptist in St. Paul, Minnesota cares at all about Baylor.
Not at all.
Of course not.
So anyways, you want to sling mud, even if it's 15 years ago? We don't forget, Baylor. Screw you.
Let's go, man. I love it. All right. Thank you for taking us deep into CU Baylor lore there.
Yeah.
That was dope, man.
That was
I always
enlightening.
appreciate the
There
history.
we go. There's a weekly history
I
lesson.
love it. I love it, man. I mean, this is what it's about. Like, getting back into the Big 12, right? Renewing these kind of, I guess, rivalries with the other teams and the other members of the conference.
And we haven't had a chance to play Baylor since those emails were exchanged. So that's fun, too. Speaking of, I'll keep going. I'll look up the Colorado's all-time record against
Okay.
Baylor.
We'll go to picks then. There is, let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 true Big 12 games this week. Iowa State is playing Arkansas State still. But we'll start with Kansas. Kansas, man, what is going on? 1-2 after being preseason ranked 25. Jalen Daniels is not looking like the player he used to be a few years ago. They're on the road to Morgantown. The Mountaineers, West Virginia, 2-point faves. West Virginia is also 1-2. I can't remember who they played. Losses to Penn State, of course, in week 1. They beat UAlbany, and then they lost to Pitt last week. What are you taking, Scott? You taking the
You said
Mountaineers?
that game's in Morgantown?
It's in Morgantown. The
Yeah.
Mountaineers are favored by 2.
Yeah, definitely give me West Virginia, man. I'm not trying to take no victory lap after 3 weeks, but I was definitely skeptical of Jalen Daniels. I mean, the man has yet to complete a full, healthy college football season in at least a couple years. I actually don't even know if
Yeah.
he's done that throughout his college football career yet, but on the field, he's just very erratic. Obviously,
Yeah.
he's a explosive athlete, a dual threat quarterback who can make some plays with his arm, but he's just entirely too erratic, and that's what we've been seeing so far here earlier this season. So yeah, give me West Virginia. I think they've gotten out to a slow start as well. They've
Yep.
kind of surprised me by
I've
how
only
they've
beaten
kind
an
of,
FCS team.
yeah, how they stumbled out of the gates. But I still like Garrett Green quite a bit, West Virginia quarterback, another dual threat guy. But I like West Virginia in that one for sure.
I will also take the Mountaineers -2. Do you have a pick, RK?
Oh, sorry, I was looking up their all-time record. I'm kind of surprised Colorado and Baylor have only matched up 16 times ever.
Interesting.
Obviously, Baylor joined in the Big 12 expansion. So they weren't part of the original crew, but 9-7 Colorado over Baylor.
All right. West Virginia favored by 2 over Kansas. Are you taking Jalen Daniels? Are you going with the Mountaineers at home?
God,
Actually,
this is a
love that
big
spread too.
big time narrative game here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kansas could be dead and gone coming out of this game.
Yep. 1-3.
100%.
Give me Kansas. Give me the
Okay.
desperate. We had high expectations, and we have to win this game to not be deep in the hole.
Arizona State, one of the most surprising teams in the country, starting off 3-0, taking on Texas Tech in Lubbock. The Red Raiders favored by 2.5. Texas Tech, man, they are 2-1. They have looked very leaky defensively. Very leaky.
Yeah.
It's Red Raiders -2.5.
Wow.
I think I'm going to go with the home team as well. I don't exactly like what I've seen out of Texas Tech through 3 weeks, and Arizona State has been pretty impressive.
Yes.
They've kind of been on pretty opposite ends of the spectrum, but I think Texas Tech, I think Morton gets on track, their quarterback. I like them at home this week.
He's thrown 10 touchdown passes. They score a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
They can't
exactly.
stop a nosebleed, though.
Oh man, when I used to do the betting show, we used to say, "Don't take the cheese."
Uh-huh.
Arizona State absolutely feels like the cheese here. Undefeated team going
Exactly.
against a team that struggled.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I haven't learned my lesson. I'm taking the cheese.
Let's go.
Give me Arizona State. The reason why is I really like Kenny Dillingham as an offensive mind.
Yes.
And when he looks out there and sees a defense made of Swiss cheese, I
Fair
think
enough.
that he's just going to carve it right up.
Yep. I will also pick the Sun Devils. The only ranked matchup of the weekend in the Big 12, and it's a big one, actually. Cam Rising. We still don't know if he's playing. It doesn't sound like he's going to. But the Utes are coming in ranked 12th in the country to Stillwater to take on the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Alan Bowman had 5 touchdown passes last weekend. The Cowboys are favored by 2.5 at home.
Give me the road team in this one. I think Cam Rising does actually play this weekend.
Okay.
And I think that offense, Brand Keithy, the receiver, Dorian Singer, the transfer from USC and formerly Arizona.
Yep.
I like their offense. They always bring it defensively on both sides of the ball in the trenches. I like Utah. I think I don't really see too many teams beating them this season. I think they stay undefeated.
Is this, and to me, it just comes down to the quarterback.
Yep.
Isaac Wilson is absolutely Zach Wilson's little brother, right?
Yeah. 100%.
Okay, because I was watching the Baylor Utah game, and like they showed a close up on him.
They
Like,
look
Zach
alike and
Wilson.
play alike. Yeah, it's crazy.
But he's not ready yet. So if he doesn't play, I think they lose, and if Cam Rising plays, I think they win. I guess I'm splitting. I guess I gotta make my prediction whether or not he plays now. Let me say he doesn't play, and Oklahoma State wins.
I'll take the Cowboys as
Me
well.
and Scott are going against each other heavy here.
We'll do one more, then we can pick the Colorado game. K-State, dominating win over Arizona last Friday. 31-7, I think the score was. T-Mac kind of went off, but the Wildcats, or Kansas State, really handled Arizona offensively. They are going on the road to BYU, to the 3-0 BYU Cougars. Kansas State is favored by 6.5 on the road. BYU wins over Southern Illinois, SMU, and Wyoming so far this year.
Yeah, I love Kansas State in a big spot here. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think that BYU SMU game, I caught a lot of that. I think that was all field goals in that game, if I'm not mistaken. I think each team had like 5 or 6 apiece. So BYU's offense isn't explosive.
Final score 18-15.
Yeah, that's what I
Wow,
thought. Yeah.
6-5.
Yeah.
So yeah, needless to say, BYU's offense isn't explosive, to say the least. So I like Kansas State, man. I saw some people kind of talking down on Avery Johnson, I believe, after the Tulane game, saying that he's not ready, he's not like that, and that was just crazy to me. I don't know why y'all are smiling like
You're talking to me. You're talking to me.
Okay. I was going to say, Avery Johnson is really like that. He's obviously still young, and he's going to have some growing pains, but the talent is just undeniable. He is a running back receiver with the ball in his hands as a ball carrier, and he's shown enough, promise as a passer to where I think by this time next year, he's going to be, looked at as one of the best quarterbacks in all college football. But even right now, this team, led by him, is top 3 in the Big 12.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that I think Kansas State is going to get exposed at some point. I don't think that this is that week. I everything you said about Avery Johnson, I agree with, except for I haven't seen enough from him as a passer. If a team ever gets them to have to throw the ball, I think that's when they're going to lose a football game. I don't know if they play Utah or maybe even Oklahoma State, like one of those teams.
And they calling that boy a slot receiver. Y'all are crazy. That's hilarious, though.
He really he looks like an X receiver, to be honest.
Yeah.
But if you don't stop the run and you allow him to get out there and make plays with his feet, you're in big trouble because he's really like that with the ball in his hands, running the ball. And
that was a big reason I picked them to finish, again, top 3 in the conference. Good luck stopping that running game, though. I don't know why DJ Giddens, he got my vote alongside Ollie Gordon for, all conference preseason. That was an unpopular pick. A lot of people went with, the Kansas running back or some of the guys. But DJ Giddens is really like that. And you throw in, Dylan Edwards as your third down, kind of change of pace back, who's obviously had some explosive plays already this season. And you add in Avery's dual threat ability. This offense and this team is really, really fun to watch.
I'll take the Wildcats -6.5. Shout out Dylan Edwards.
Yeah. I mean, they'll be fine this week.
No doubt.
Colorado's only 2-point favorites against Baylor at home. We've talked enough about this game. Where do you land?
I wrote about it this morning. My prediction, I like Colorado in a relatively low-scoring game. I think I picked CU winning 24-13.
Okay.
I think the defense has another pretty dominant performance, and the offense does, just enough, maybe in the rain, maybe not in the rain, to, have a comfortable 2-score win in front of the home crowd on homecoming.
Love it. By the way, Oklahoma State next week for Kansas State.
Yep.
So that might be
a big one.
That might be the time for them. First of all, if they hold Baylor to 13 points, which I think is absolutely in the cards, get excited.
Yeah.
Not that Baylor is some sort of scary offense, but that would be, 2.5 straight games of dominant defense.
Yeah.
And that's when you can start to really believe that this defense could take this team to high heights.
Yeah, it becomes a pattern at that
Yep.
point.
Exactly.
I'm in that same area for the defense, but I'm going to say that they tack on an extra field goal. But Colorado gets more on offense. I'm going to say 27-16.
Okay. I'm very similar. I'm going to obviously take the Buffs -2. I just think that this is a team that's not close to as talented as Colorado.
Yeah.
And that we might actually see the Stars really start to overpower a team like Baylor this week. Specifically Shedeur and Travis, of course. But the guys on defense, man, that secondary, test them, good luck when you try and test them, basically. They're about that. Buffs, pretty similar, I guess, 28-17.
Okay. I need advice, I think. I think I
Okay.
know the answer to this, but I just need to hear someone else tell me it. I bet on the Buffs to cover week 1. They did not. I bet on the Buffs to win straight up week 2.
Yep.
They did not. Week 3, I just said I'm out. I'm not. I don't want to mess with anything here.
Yeah.
The Buffs dominate. I can't, right? I'm on the sidelines.
I'm in the exact same pattern as you, so yes.
Yeah, I'm on the sidelines.
Me too.
I gotta.
Can't mess with it.
someone else. Please take advantage.
You can find all those odds and many more with our friends over at Bet365, and you can sign up using the code DNVR365. When you sign up to use their bet and get offer, all you got to do is deposit $10, place a bet of $5 or more, and then once that bet clears, whether it hits or misses, you'll get $200 in bonus bets deposited directly into your account. I love Bet365. The early money line payouts are awesome. NFL and CFB. You must be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Told you guys I know the answer. I just needed to hear someone else say it so I don't do anything crazy. And by the way, I've been absolutely cleaning up on college football everywhere else. It's better for me.
We did picks on the draft pod. We do picks every week on the draft pod. Last week I went 6-0.
Wow.
I'm gonna have to start tuning in.
Yeah, let's go.
Tune in the draft pod. We just did one today.
Real.
Go check it out.
I also hit a 4-game NFL parlay last week with 2 straight up underdogs, that never happens. Mm-hmm. That one felt good.
What's your favorite college football bet of the weekend? Do you have one?
I don't. Let me look at the slate when we get done.
We'll talk.
All right. Also, shout out to Circle K. Circle K, we are begging you to take the empty space across the way. We need all of the great things from Circle K, whether that's the snacks, the great gas prices, the for reals. You know what that is?
No.
Those are they're like shakes.
I have seen those.
That you
it's like its
get
own
them out
machine,
of the
right?
Yeah, you get them out of the freezer, then you put them in the machine, and it mixes it up for you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They got those. I noticed they had that at the Circle K we swung by. They just got it all, man. So Circle K. Also, if anyone in our sales team is listening to this, please send this part to Circle K so they know about the because I don't know if we're just speaking into a void here,
That's true. Let
our friends at Circle K know we need them here across the street from the DNVR bar. And if you're at home, you should sign up for the Circle K Inner Circle Rewards Program. Download the Circle K app and sign up for the Inner Circle to get exclusive offers and sweepstakes uploaded weekly.
Then one final shout out. Just come hang out with us at the tailgate on Saturday. It's going to be a lot of fun. Saucy's Southern Barbecue is going to be there. If you haven't had Saucy Southern, they're downtown Denver, right? Or they're not downtown, sorry, by DU.
Right by DU, yep.
They're open 7 days a week, 11 to 10. They are on the corner of University and Evans. They got free parking. They're from Jackson, too. I mean, this is legit barbecue, man.
Oh, yeah.
Jackson, Mississippi?
Jackson, Mississippi.
Oh, yeah. So they came here from Jackson. They started a food truck, kind of like outside Broncos games and stuff. And people loved it so much that they got themselves their own restaurant. It's great. They've got St. Louis spare ribs, grilled chicken wings, Louisiana-style hot links, potato salad, fresh fried to order catfish, and even fried chicken Fridays. So hit up our friends at Saucy Southern and get lost in the sauce.
I'm going to have to tap in.
They are Cam Silman Craig approved, too.
Yes, they are. He's the one who put us onto them from the beginning.
Yep.
That's what's up.
Shout out Cam. You guys might see Cam soon. All right, let's get to the chat, to the Toyota chat. D Mills, I wonder if Zimmer had a hand in hiring Livingston. Coach said that he hit up a bunch of people, and Coach Zim being one of them. So, yeah.
And I think there's an overlap between those two.
There is, yep. It's very short. I think it's only a year or two, but yes. Kamada, what's up? What can Shedeur do to urgently shock the offense to score touchdowns in the first quarter? It's a compelling issue for how CU plays the remaining season. Yeah, we've talked about the slow starts, and this goes back to last year, too.
Yeah, I mean, I almost wonder if the same way that you're scripting against a defense, if defenses are trying to script against Shedeur and throw a bunch of looks at him, you heard Dave Aranda say, if he knows what he's looking at, you're in trouble or something along those lines. Yeah. And I just wonder if other defenses are saying, like, okay, here's our first 5 or 6 calls that we're going to cycle through. We want to throw a bunch of different looks at him early so that he doesn't get comfortable. And then, we'll settle into something later. But I just wonder if that has something to do with it, because you look around, like, one of my favorite bets, speaking of betting, is I'll take Shanahan tree offenses and I'll take the over in the first quarter in those games.
Because they script so well.
Especially if you get like McVay versus Shanahan or something like that, because they script so well.
Yep.
It's surprising to me that we haven't done a better job of scripting up some big plays given all the talent that we have out there.
Yeah, this is definitely a problem, and I've written about it too. The slow starts, particularly offensively, and that's why I would like to see Shurmur really have an emphasis on getting this run game going from the first drive.
Yes.
Let Shedeur look out at the defense and see different pictures without actually having to throw the ball. You know what I'm saying? I think that would be very beneficial for, both Shedeur, obviously this offense as a whole, but get this defense on their toes a little bit. Get them guessing early on, depending on whether you're going to run, whether you're going to spread the ball out on the perimeter. I think the slow starts are a bit on Pat Shermer for sure.
I'd love to see more runs in the first 10, 15 plays. First drive specifically, too.
Yeah. I would like to
set the tone. No, you're good.
I would like to use Travis as a decoy, too, in some play designs. We've thrown a little, smoke screen to him multiple times early in the game. Let's get a fake one of those.
Yeah.
Jimmy, going up the sideline.
Sure.
I'm shocked we haven't seen that, actually.
I know.
Demetrius says, after 3 games, do you see the landscape changing for who will control the conference, or is it still too early? I think it's still primarily the same teams. It's
Top 3.
Oklahoma State, K-State, Utah, and then we'll see if CU is able to break into that top 3. And I think we all agree that they have the talent to do so. They just got to do it.
I think Joe Klatt released tiers for the Big 12, and he had Colorado in the second tier, behind those 3 teams.
That's
that we
where they
just
should
mentioned. And people were clowning, and I'm like, where would y'all have it?
Yeah.
then,
Well,
man?
I'm sure
I don't really.
the fans wanted them higher and the haters wanted them lower.
The haters
guess.
want them in the last tier. It
They
doesn't
were
matter
on the
what
same
it is.
tier as Arizona. They were the only 2 teams in that tier,
Yeah.
which makes sense
Yes.
to me. But yeah, I agree. It's those top 3 teams, and then there's a couple teams, Colorado included, kind of hanging on that second tier.
Yeah. And I think the Buffs are the most primed to jump into that first tier. And going out and having a dominating performance this week would be a huge step in that direction. And, I predicted 27 points. This offense is due for a big number. Mm-hmm. One of these days it's going to pop for them, and they're just going to have the right matchups, the right scheme, the right game plan for a week, and they're going to put up, 42.
Yep.
I can see that happening next week in Florida.
Alfredi asks, what about Quency Wiggins? Do you know why he's not playing? I don't. He is a younger player. It's only his second year in college football. He was a 22 recruit, though. And they just have, and we've talked about this a lot throughout the offseason to now, they've just got graduate transfers, veteran players, I think, ahead of a lot of these guys. Deion Hayes, BJ Green, so Sam Okunlola even, too. So there's other guys that are just, I think, naturally ahead of some of these players on the depth chart is all.
So what happens when you bring in good players? Sometimes good players, or what you perceive as good players, don't get to play.
Yeah.
And when there's so much depth and versatility, particularly on the edge with, again, guys you brought in. Deion Hayes is playing his ass off. Same with BJ Green, same with Okunlola, who got to start week 1.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's only so many guys you can put out there, and you want your guys to be able to break a sweat and get into the flow of the game. So that way, you can't be rotating in 4 guys at one position, so to speak. But I think before the season ends, whether that be injury, God forbid, or just needing to switch things up, I think Quency will get a shot.
Yep.
Real quick.
Yes.
We mentioned Cliff Branch. How about Zachariah Branch?
Ooh, yeah, he balls.
Shout out T Zisk.
Thanks.
There was a player, he went to Michigan, actually, from Albuquerque. His name was Alan Branch.
Wild.
Yep. When is CU's blackout? I'm trying to look it up.
I had the graphic that had each week, and I don't know what happened to it. I lost it.
Well, I guess you could just go to the CU Buffs football on Twitter, Instagram. I'm sure it's probably got to dig a little bit, but it's definitely on there. I'm going to look real quick, and I cannot find it. So, I don't know. Jasmine says, any chance we see some tight end action? Savell got involved last week.
He had a nice little catch and run.
Yes, he did.
We saw a 2 tight end set, at least for one play, with Savell and Sam Hart out there, which I never thought I would see 2 tight ends on the field at one time. But
I found it.
When is it?
Found the graphic. So this week, obviously, White. Let's pull it off. Next home game, Kansas State Gold Rush.
Okay.
Another one that I don't love, but we'll try to find a way to play along.
You'll survive.
The next one after that, Cincinnati, is the blackout. And then Utah is salute to service, and OSU is senior day. So no official colors to wear for those ones.
So we're black. Right?
Against Cincinnati.
but wear it for the other days too, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Super chats. What's up, Kev? He says, today, I have to admit I was a little concerned about Prime hiring Livingston. I thought we were getting a splash hire. Turned out to be money well spent. I'm glad I was wrong. Thank you, Kev. I wrote about this in an article about Coach Livingston in like March or something. The whole process of hiring him and all that. So you can go check that out on DNVR.com.
For sure. And I'm glad you brought up like the lead up to it too, because it was a drawn out process where everybody was like, when is this team going to hire a DC? And every time Coach Prime would get on any type of appearance, he would be asked about it. And he would simply just say like, I want an NFL guy. So that made people think that, oh, they're gonna get a big name. And then when people heard Robert Livingston, a name that they'd probably never heard of, a lot of people, probably like my guy right here, were a bit disappointed. But just because you don't know the name now, it don't mean that it's not the right guy for the job.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, he there was like 3 different times where I heard a name. I was like, this is the one. And it didn't end up being that person.
Yeah.
What's up, Grant? My guy. He says, gritty win in the rain could be something we've never really seen under Prime. I loved how they approached last week off the field. Seems like staff/culture is maturing in Boulder. Learning to win. Sco. Appreciate you, Grant. Kev again says, can we get a light show at CU? Yep, talked about that. Maybe a black and gold light show.
Sounds sick.
Will you invite Sean Keeler to the tailgate? No. Matt says, great show, RK. Great meeting you last Friday after the show. Clean sweep last Saturday for you. Fairview/Boulder, 56-0. And 28-9 CU versus CSU. Sco Knights, Sco Buffs. Your dad's friend. Oh, yeah. Shout out to Matt.
Yeah, Matt taught my dad how to watch this show. He's my dad is technologically illiterate, so he didn't know how to do it until Matt was like, "Oh, I watched the show," and then he taught him how to watch it. But I didn't know. I never heard this is the first time I'm hearing the Fairview Boulder score. So I went to Fairview. Our rival is Boulder High. By the way, both my mom, my sister, well, I guess all 3, my mom, my sister, and my aunt all went to Boulder High. I broke the family chain, went to Fairview. Fairview has not lost to Boulder High in football since before I was in high school.
Wow.
Damn.
Hell of a run.
Sheesh.
That's domination. And then last one from Barron. You're killing me here, Alyssa. I honestly like CU's gradual improvement this year versus the early
You want me to take these?
bright burnout from last year. Hot take, we are as good as K-State when we play.
I'm glad
Love
we got that one at home.
Yep, definitely.
And the Buffs are built to stop the run so far.
They are. And if Avery's got to drop back and pass, I like our chances.
Me too.
Is that it? That is it.
You can give your eyes a break now, bro.
It looks sick.
Well done.
It's just the font is just smaller.
Yeah, the font did get smaller on us. But you can read them from the right where it's bigger.
Oh,
Come on, man.
I guess I could.
This your first show or something?
The great ones adjust, you know?
Hey, we're still adjusted. What is it? Day 3 of the new font or something like that?
I'm just kidding.
All right. Yeah. Tomorrow's going to be cool. There will be some news from us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then pregame show tomorrow will be up in Boulder. Uncle Neely. I'm sure some players will stop by. Scott, let the people know where they can find you.
Go shoot me a follow on Twitter, now known as X, at Scott Procter _ last name spelled with an ER, not an OR. Go check out my story that went live today on Robert Livingston, his impact on this Colorado football program. And yeah, man, if you love Colorado Buffaloes football or like Coach Prime, you tripping if you're not following me. So go ahead and do that. Appreciate y'all.
I can
having
vouch.
me.
I can
Oh,
vouch.
yeah.
Yep.
Also, shout out to all the Fairview grads in the comments.
There you go.
Shout out to all Fairview grads except for Ryan Blackburn. Or Henry Blackburn.
There it is. Tomorrow's pregame. We'll see you guys then. Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.